Kia ora, good morning. Morena. So, I'm not going to do a reading right now. What I'm going to do is show you how I was taught how to read my cards when I was a teenager. Now, what people need to understand is that reading with cards and tarot cards is supposed to be a training tool for children in the current occult climate. But originally, tarot cards were used as a tool to gauge someone's mood and offer them philosophical. Excuse me, hang on. One a kiss, two a wish, three a letter. I'm going to get a love letter. Anyway, that's what we used to say. Yeah, cards are supposed to be, in the modern occult climate, a training tool for children. There are rules that you have to abide by, whether you're a tarot reader or do cartomancy. But originally, tarot cards were designed in order, like they were therapy, put it that way. They were a form of psychotherapy. And it was in the Victorian era. They were invented in the 15th century in Germany. And then it was the Italians that picked it up by the Medici family and all of that, the Illuminati, and turned it into cards for prophecy. And then it became a parlour game in the Victorian era because the Victorians were fascinated with death and the occult, as you know. And it took off from there. However, they're supposed to be a training tool for children who are stepping into their abilities, to help ground them and find focus and purpose and understanding and connection to their ancestors and their gods and all that sort of thing. As an adult, you're not really supposed to be doing tarot cards. However, it's the modern world, and it's just I'm traditional, I'm old school. That's why I'm a Wic and not a witch. The word witch and Wiccan are derived from the word Wic, which is an old English word for wise, ancient wisdom, indigenous wisdom. Ancient cultural indigenous wisdom. That's what Wic means. And then the word witch and Wiccan are derived from Wic, which means intelligent, of intelligence. But not everybody who calls themselves a witch is intelligent because they don't know what they're doing. There's a hierarchical system to occult practitioners, with witch doctors being the lowest, and then wizards, and then witches, elemental witches, that sort of thing. Like there's a whole hierarchical system. So when I was 16, my big sister came to me because she's the head of our family. She's the firstborn. It's her job to, because of who our bloodline are, because of what our bloodline are, my sister being the firstborn, and being a Pisces as well, and they rule the psychic and all of that. It's her job. It was her job to watch over her siblings and their spiritual development of their gifts. Some of my brothers and sisters didn't believe. Well, all of us girls believed. My brothers were skeptical. But my sister Marion, it was her job to make sure that when us kids started developing our abilities, we did it the right way. She was my first teacher. My sister was my first teacher. She was the one that put me on the right track to create what I am now. My girl Amber, her mum. And when we were living in Australia, she was doing readings, And she came to me when I was 16 and she said, now that you're 16, see, because in Māori culture, you're not allowed to do the stuff with kids under the age of 16. Like, you're not supposed to read their palms. You're not supposed to do card readings for them or anything like that, because they're not born yet. They haven't stepped into life. So we leave them alone until they're 16. And even my boys, when they came here, when they wanted me to do palm readings for them, I was like, oh, I shouldn't really be doing it because because of your age. But yeah, we're in my culture, in the Māori culture, we don't use the occult around children until they turn 16, because we consider them, they're not born yet. They're not alive. They're still like vessels of innocence and purity. So anyway, she came to me when I was 16 and she said, it's time that you learned how to do card readings. And she said, what I want you to do is I want you to find a deck of cards that feel right. And then I want you to find your spread, how you want to read them. So I spent 2 days with Amber. And what happened was my ex-brother-in-law worked for Jupiter's Casino in Perth. And he was given like a big bag of cards, just like this kind of thing, but they had a puncture hole in the middle, because in the casinos, each deck of cards plays one game, and then they're taken, so that cards can't be rigged in poker games, and that can't be rigged in that. So they puncture a hole in them, and then they usually sell them to tourists. But he was given a bag of them, and so I went through the bag and I found the deck of cards that felt right for me, and then I spent 2 days finding my spread. And later on, when I figure out how to set up this tripod, I'll show you how I do a spread, and then I'll do a random reading for someone. I'll give you a specific time of when to come back and watch the reading. So it's just, I've got to have breakfast. I've got to ground myself. I need to dye my hair and have a wash and put the bins out and all of that. So I don't want to do a reading until I've got nothing else to do and I'm, in a calm space and there's light. I can open the curtains and let the sunlight through and blah, blah, blah. So if you want to learn how to do readings, I'm going to show, this video is for one of two reasons. I'm going to show you how to find your deck of cards. And I'm going to show you a quick way, although it's not 100% accurate, so I do need to put a caveat in there. This is the user beware caveat that I will put in what I'm going to show you as a tool for you to help yourself when you're wanting answers in that. But the first thing is, when I make my tarot cards, I will make them the correct way. I'll have my folk deck. When I can find an artist, I'll have my folk deck, which will be given to the members of my the Amber Wilkinson School of Witchcraft. They will be trained with them, and it will force open their psychic eye. It'll force open and decalcify their pineal gland and activate their vagus nerve. And that's why I call it the folk deck, FOTE, force open the eye deck. It will let you see using the eye of Horus, my ancestral god. And you're only allowed to use Horus if he is an ancestral god, or you're granted permission by an ordained high priestess or priest, which is what I am. I'm a gatekeeper, and I'm the only gatekeeper. So if anyone allows you to use Horus, they're breaking the laws of universal karma. They're breaking the law, because there's only one gatekeeper. And so when I sell my animal totem oils, it's because I'm granting you permission. I'm giving you access to it through me. So it's the same with this sort of thing. I'm giving you access to Horus, but if you abuse the privilege, it will come back on you as karma, so you have to be aware of that. That is the warning. Everything I teach you, if you abuse the system, it will come back on you as karma. If you follow what I'm telling you to do and you don't listen to everything I tell you to do to the letter of the law, it comes back on you. So you're signing an invisible contract with the universe to say, I will not break or breach the contract with my high priestess, Brehena Saithusa, because I want to learn how to do this properly. So this video is going to show you two things: how to find your cards, and how to use them when you need answers, but with the I'll explain in a minute. So when I do my Fote deck, it will only be for my students at the school, at Amber's school. And then I will do my tarot cards, but they will be done the right way, by which time everybody will know who I am, what I'm doing, what we offer at the foundation, and that sort of thing. And then my tarot cards will be for the general public, but my Fote deck will only be for my students. They'll be a privileged deck. So regardless of your age, if you're wanting to learn how to do readings properly, the right way, where you're granted access, then you come to me, because my power speaks for itself. You all know how powerful I am because I followed the rules. I signed the contract and I followed the rules to the letter verbatim, because the universe relies on karmic balance. And if you are stepping into the realms of the occult, you have to follow the rules. The evolution of mankind depends on it. You can't just make it up as you go along. You can't take what doesn't belong to you. You can't lie. You know, the Illuminati, for example, devil worshippers, and that they get it all wrong. People who believe that Satan is the devil. People who blame Satan for everything. If you get it wrong, it comes back on you. So I'm always going to put the caveats out there. So I've never been able to read tarot. I've tried a million times to try and use tarot cards for readings, but they just, because I've always known that they're not correct, that they're not being presented the right way, and it irks me. So I just get like a blank signal, because I try to read it the original way. But the way that the cards are designed now, they're not reading them the original way, which is why I've spent so many years, decades, 2 decades, I think, 2 decades, trying to find tarot readers who are exactly what I'm looking for to bring on board. And I've got a list in my drawer of about 15 readers, and there's only one that I want to invite to be a teacher. There was 2, but when I found out that the second one was mimicking me, I took them off the list. So whether you're wanting to read tarot cards or not, but I'm specifically talking about normal playing cards. It's harder reading these. It's a more brutal way of training, because the answers aren't given to you like a tarot deck are. This card means this card means that, this card, and when it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. But this forces you to use your intuition. It forces you to use your pineal gland and decalcifies it in the process. You need to, if you're going to read using these, you need to get sugar out of your system, especially artificial sweeteners, because sugar calcifies your pineal gland. It also causes depression, and it coats your joints in an unhealthy sludge that slows you down and makes you sleepy. And when you read cards like this, you need to be fully grounded, fully awake, fully alert, and have a clear signal. Because once you start reading these, you're beaming energy out into the universe like a projector, and then the universe projects the image that it needs you to see in these cards. So get away from aluminium or aluminum. So, deodorants and spray, anything in a spray can, anything that comes in a can that you spray, get it away from you. Tin foil, if you use tin foil for cooking, aluminum foil for cooking, stop using aluminum foil. Use baking paper or like little Dutch ovens and that sort of thing, because these all calcify your pineal gland and poison your lymph nodes and all that, and you need to be completely purified and cleansed in order to be able to send and receive these signals. The universe will not connect with you biorhythmically if you have blockages and glitches. So you need to have a purified body. You need to get, the crap out of your diet. I have a full fat, high protein diet. I'm allergic to eggs, but I have full fat dairy. I eat meat. I eat nuts. I eat whatever I want. I just don't eat like cooking oil, anything like vegetable oil, sunflower oil, cooking oil, that sort of thing. I only cook with coconut oil and olive oil and animal fat. We call it lard, but fat. They're the only three things I cook in. And I eat meat, and I eat full fat dairy, no skim milk, nothing like that. I don't have anything vegan because it's low in protein, and a lot of the vegan stuff is they compensate for taste in that with sugars. And sugar is the enemy of someone who is wanting to use their pineal gland. And it makes you put on weight, it makes you fat. And I have streamlined myself and purified myself to the nth degree, which is why I have the power that I have now. So I know what I'm talking about. So when you're finding your cards, if you're buying them in a store, what you need to do is when you get them off the shelf, you'll hold them in your hand, and my sister said they call to you, and she's absolutely right. When you pick them up and you hold them in your hand, they're going to feel heavy, and it's going to make your hand warm. When I found mine, my hands, even your hands might go tingly, but the deck will feel heavy, and your hand will go warm. So it can be warm, tingly, and heavy, but you'll feel it. You'll know as soon as you pick them up, because you'll feel the energy shoot up your arm and hit you right in the heart space, like right in the middle of your sternum. You might get emotional. You'll feel it in your throat. That's when you know you've found the cards for you. Now, what I did when I was finding my spread, hang on, is I took out every card from 6 down. So I took out the jokers, I took out 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and I kept the 7, 8, 9, 10, jacks, queens, kings, and aces. And these are the ones that I read with. I don't need, to be honest, I feel like I'm going back to the Stone Age doing this, because I'm so far beyond the need of these now. I thought when I was reading these using these to read for so many years that I would need them forever until my teacher said, put them away. You don't need them anymore. You're beyond that. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? How am I going to? And then boom, she was right, because my teacher was always right. The teacher is always right. So these are the cards I read were 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace. And I took these out, but you sit and you find your spread. You might want to keep all the cards. You might want to take certain ones out. But I'm talking about me and what I did. When I get my tripod, I'll be able to do it properly. But now you see those little, see that X that I've put in the bottom of the card? Just see if I can see that X. See how I've put X's on all the cards? That's because if the X comes up in the reading and it's, hang on, just waiting for it to focus, and it's reverse, that means you read the card in reverse, just like with tarot readings. You know when they say like King of Pentacles in reverse, it's the exact same thing. Now, you can look at these cards like tarot and the fact that you could say that hearts, wands, air, earth. So heart, fire, air, earth. Cups, wands, swords, pentacles. Pentacles, cups, wands, swords. Okay? If you wanted to. I don't, but so then my tripod. What I need to do is I've got my tripod's here, it's just arrived, but I need to be able to use it where I can angle it so that you can see both my hands. But I did shuffle these cards, I'm just trying to think how I can just rest it up against my boobs. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just going to hope like how you can see it. Shuffled the cards. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then split the deck. You know, do the usual. Because then it mixes up the cards. And put them, you know, upside down, the right way up. Not in order of suit. That sort of thing. And you just shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then what you need to do, if you don't have an altar like I do, because I'm an Indigenous reverend, you need to put these in the windowsill. Put them in the windowsill where, I don't know if you got to see me shuffle, but you would have heard it. Put them in the windowsill where the room in the house with the windowsill gets the most moonlight. And then you need to put them on your windowsill for a full moon cycle. But if you're an ordained high priestess, reverend like I am, I just put mine in the altar, in my prayer altar, and I use my Bible and I use my ancestors and incense and oils and that in order to bless them. So I only needed to leave them overnight. But if you're not like me, then you'll put them in your windowsill. It's usually people's kitchens or bathrooms that get the best moonlight. So you'll put them there for a whole full moon cycle. So for a whole month, you'll put them there, and then Grandfather Moon will remove, using magnetism, because he is the god of magnetism, and he will extract anything negative that has been absorbed by those cards. Meaning, because cards are made from paper and paper comes from trees, you don't know where the trees were felled and what those trees have seen and what those trees absorbed over the course of their history. So, for example, if this has come from trees in Cambodia, I'm just saying off the top of my head, this deck could have come from trees that they chopped down in Cambodia by the killing fields. And then all that energy and all that pain and suffering would have been witnessed by the trees and soaked up and then put into the trees. And when they chopped them down, the tree still remembers it in the paper, in the card. So, but then also the person who chopped the trees down, the person who drove the trucks to the place that turned them into the pulp, that turned it into cards. Do you see what I mean? So it's everything from the ground where the tree grew, the tree itself, the person who chopped the tree, the person who delivered the tree, the person who turned the tree into the object, the person who took the object to the store, the person who sold the object, have to be, the energy has to be removed and cleansed from the deck. If, like me, you've ordered these online, then you especially need to cleanse them. My postie who delivered these is, I've got the best postie in the entire world. He's lovely. He always he always whistles. He sings a tune at my door to let me know that it's him. I think he knows. He knows. So, because I don't open my door or answer my phone to just anybody, and I live in a secure building with fobs and all that, but I think he knows. So he's the loveliest guy. I call him Sweet Pea, Sweetheart, Poppet. Good morning, Poppet, I say, and he's like, hello, hey, like he's really lovely. So I don't need to cleanse from my postie because I've got the best postie in the whole world. It's the same guy, and I just adore him. So, all right, darling. I say, you have a good day, drive safely, take care, you too. he's lovely. So, yeah, but I'll be cleansing because I don't know the mood or the history or the mental health and well-being of the person that I bought the cards from on eBay, or the delivery person that delivered it to the post office, or the distributor, or anything like that, and you can't take chances. So you have to cleanse the deck. You have to cleanse the deck. And if you're not me and you don't have a prayer altar like I do, see, if you see my altar, you see my staff. I've got my staff there with all the feathers that have been offered to me by the birds, because I do offerings to the birds. You'll see that red thing there, that thing there. That's a scarf from my sister Laurie, from when she had chemotherapy and her hair fell out. I got her scarf because I wrapped my cards up in her scarf as a blessing, and you'll see the clock there. That's because I'm a time jumper, I'm a timekeeper. I am Gold Dragon, and dragons rule time, ancestry, magic. And then you'll see my oils, and what you can't see is I've got other feathers down there. I make up my own oil blends, which I will sell in my store, but I've also got the ashes of my two familiars, Kareem and Ghibli. They were my two familiars, two cats, Kareem in New Zealand and Ghibli here in the UK. But they were both from my familiars, and Kareem was with me from when I first started, doing all of this work. And Ghibli was with me when I was perfecting it all. So their ashes are down there, and I've just been told that I'm getting some of Amber's ashes as well, so she'll be down there too. I've got like a drawer full of like my Tane clay and my candle melts that I make myself. All of these things I'll be able to sell and store, but that's my altar, and it's sacred, and I use holy water. I create my own holy water because I'm a reverend. So I just need to put them in my altar. But you'll see like my candle stands and all of that. But yeah, that's my staff. That's a real staff. I can use that in war, like a kind of taiaha sort of thing. But it's also for magic as well. I can take that in places that I need to go and cleanse. So yeah, so I cleanse my cards and my altar. Now, the second thing, the one that comes with the caveat, there's something you can do using your cards if you're needing quick answers to something. But the warning is The reason why you don't read for people you know, for people that are close to you, is that you can see things for them that you want to have happen and not necessarily that will happen, because you become so intuitive with your cards that they will often tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear. And if you're wanting positive outcomes for the people that you care about, you will manifest them in the cards, but it's not agreeable to the universe. So if you're reading for people that you care about, or friends and family, and that, you need to be aware of the fact that they might not be 100% accurate, because you might be seeing the best possible outcome for them and not what has been agreed by the universe. You can't change someone's karma, and you can't mess out their dharma. So you might see good things for someone who's done bad things and give them hopes, or, make them think they're getting away with their bad behavior or whatever. And then when what you say doesn't come true, it comes back on you, because, well, but you said that this was going to happen and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't know how much karmic debt you'd racked up with the universe, because you're not a gatekeeper. So you're not going to know people's hidden selves. I do, because I'm a gatekeeper. So when you read for people, you need to say that, you need to put a caveat in. I might be seeing the best possible outcome, but you will only achieve that best possible outcome if the universe grants you permission to have it. But if you do the work and you pay off karmic debt, this is what I see coming for you. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell you what I see, and it's up to you to take with it what you will. But the caveat is, I might be seeing what I want for you and not what the universe is going to allow for you. So there has to be a caveat. Unless you're a gatekeeper, there's no way that you're going to know, in, for lack of better terms, someone's Akashic records and how much karmic debt they've racked up. And the universe will always outweigh your karmic debt with your dharmic rewards. So karma is your penalties, and dharma is the payout. So when you've done good things, you get dharma. When you've done bad things, you get karma. And the universe will always weigh out the two, the balance of karmic scales. I call it the bank of the karmic universe. How much karma points do you have? How much karmic debt do you have in the bank of the universe, as opposed to how many dharmic coins, right? So the universe will always weigh the good with the bad in you, and the person reading for you won't know your karmic debt to its fullest extent. So when they read for you, they might be seeing the best possible outcome of, if you do all the right things, this is what's going to happen. So you need to always put those caveats in, because in some countries they can sue you. For in Australia, it's actually still technically illegal to take money for doing readings. It's still like an old ancient witchcraft law that they still have in Australia. So all the people that do readings in Australia, they can't take money out of your hand. You have to leave it as an offering on the table. Because if you're seen taking money in Australia for doing readings out of someone's hands, and they're someone who's undercover, you can be charged with witchcraft. True. So you can be sued. So you need to put the caveats in. But especially when it comes to people that you love. Because, of course, we all want the best for the people that we love. So for now, what I'm going to do is show you what to do if you're wanting quick answers, and it's the 4 aces. The 4 aces test. And what you do is you ask the cards a question as you're shuffling them, right? So you shuffle, 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 but you can only ask the cards a question that has a yes or no outcome. The answer can only be yes or no. And as you're shuffling the cards, what you're wanting to have happen is, I don't know, if you can see this yet. I'm going to assume you can see me shuffling. But then what you want to do, after you've asked the question, right, is flip the card. I'm not asking a question because I know my answers to my fate. So there's no point. But what you do is shuffle your cards. I apologise if you can't see what I'm doing, but I've got to figure out how to use my tripod at the right angle. I might have to clear my bedside table in order to do it, but I will do it when I'm ready to do the reading later on this evening. I will do it. So shuffle the cards and ask the question. You can only ask a question that has a yes or no answer, and then you want to flip the card so that it shows the face. 1, and you want to count to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then what you want to do is pull out all the aces. Secretly, I was asking, will I go to Switzerland? But depending on how the aces come out, the reason why you count to 13 is because I work with Viking mythology. I work with Viking gods. So 13 obviously is unlucky for some, but it keeps the devil away. Because Loki was the 13th guest in Asgard, but he was uninvited. So you count to 13 to keep the devil away. You keep Loki away. Now, when you flip the cards, you count to 13. I don't know if you saw it, but you would have heard me flipping. Depending on how many aces come out, will give your answer. You're only allowed to flip. You're only allowed to do it 3 times. So ask the question, flip the card 13 times, and pull the aces out. Ask the question again, ask the question again. If, like me, I've just flipped it once and all the aces came out, that's a definite yes. I was in the back of my head, I was secretly asking, will I move to Switzerland? And then this came out. So the 4 aces, the Land of Ace. My teacher, the Land of Ace. I'd be welcomed with open arms to the Land of Ace. And in the back of my head, I was asking, will I go to Switzerland? That's a yes. If in the first try, no cards come out, you ask again. And then you basically, depending on how many aces come out, will give you an answer yes or no. That's a definitive yes. But if it's like you flip it and no cards come out, that's a no. If 1 card comes out or 2 cards come out between the first and third flip, it's either like, it can be everything from yes, no, yes, but not yet, yes, but with a little work, no, well, maybe if there's no other option, do you know what I mean? Depending on how many aces come out between the first shuffle, the second shuffle, and the third shuffle will give you the answer. But it's generally if the aces only come out in the second or third shuffle, it's kind of like and depending on which ones come out, it's kind of like could do possibly if you do the work, or if you pay off the karmic debt, or if you put in the effort, or it could be just straight out no. Like if that came out on the last one, if that's all you got on the last one, regardless of whether it's upside down or not, that's a no. Chop, no. Chop, done, no. Chop, because that would be seen as swords. Ear, no. Psh, that's a no. But I got all three. I got all four. And I've shuffled a lot. I've split the deck a lot. So that's funny. But don't hold it to gospel, though, because, I mean, it's funny for me because I've paid off all my karmic debt, but entertainment only. Take it for its face value, for entertainment only. These were, tarot readings and readings with cards in that are parlour games. The Victorians did. That's why they're called parlour games. So take it for face value. It's entertainment only. It's a bit of fun. But the whole point of these and using the cards is, the whole reason for them is the same way when a kid is learning, when they become a master to a knight and the knight takes them under their wing and is going to train them to be a knight, the page to a knight. Page to a knight. They're given wooden swords. This is your version of a wooden sword. And eventually you'll end up with a real one. Yeah, so that's what you do. That's for now. So I'll probably wait until after dinner. What I will do is I will put a thing up to say I will be doing a reading in 1 hour or 2 hours to let you know, and then you can meet me back on my live in 1 or 2 hours whenever I say, and then I'll show you how I do readings. And then we'll take it from there. But this is the first step. This is the first lesson. And now you know what to do. And I will, when I'm ready to do a reading, I'll give you about an hour or two's notice so that you can meet me back here. And then I'll just read randomly for someone. And whoever the reading is meant for will find them. I was going to read King Charles, but I know too much about what's going on. It would look like I was setting it up. So I'm just going to read someone randomly and the card will find them. Okay? So until next time, ka kite anō. Mwah.